The man with no boundaries doesn't just lose respect, he loses the woman every single time. And the painful part, he usually never figures out why she left. There are 6 specific boundaries rooted in behavioral psychology and attraction science that high-value women use to evaluate whether a man is worth their genuine investment. One of them involves how you handle your own time. Another involves what you do when she pushes back against something you've said. And boundary number 6, the climax, is the one that separates men who get genuine respect from men who only get politeness. All 6. Coming up. Here is the honest premise of this video. Most men think boundaries are about keeping people out, about being cold or unavailable or difficult. They are completely wrong. Genuine boundaries, lived, not performed, communicate something to a high-value woman's nervous system that no amount of charm or good looks can replicate. They communicate, this man knows who he is. He has standards. He will not abandon himself to keep me comfortable, and that communication creates a specific kind of attraction that boundaryless men never experience. 6 boundaries. Real psychology. Let's get into it. Bold claim, a man who treats his own time as genuinely valuable is more attractive than a man who is always available. And the psychology behind why will change how you approach every interaction. Here's what's actually happening neurologically. High-value women have developed, through experience, a finely calibrated sensitivity to how men treat their own resources. Time is the most honest resource available because it cannot be faked. You either prioritize something with your actual hours or you don't. When a man rearranges everything at the first sign of her interest, canceling plans, appearing instantly, making himself available on demand, he communicates 2 things simultaneously. First, that his existing commitments are less important than her attention. Second, that her attention is so valuable to him that he cannot afford to lose it by being unavailable. Both communications are unattractive, not because high-value women are cruel, because they are perceptive. Scenario: David had been talking to a woman named Vanessa for 2 weeks. She texted on a Wednesday afternoon asking if he could meet that evening. David had plans, a gym session and a call with a friend he'd scheduled days earlier. Most men cancel everything. They think availability signals interest. David responded warmly. "I'm committed tonight. How's Friday evening?" Vanessa noticed, not consciously, in her body. The man had a life that didn't instantly restructure around her appearance in it. She showed up Friday more interested than she'd been on Wednesday. What most men do wrong, they treat availability as generosity. It registers as desperation. What actually works: protect your genuine commitments. Offer alternatives warmly. Let her feel that your time is something she is invited into, not something that automatically belongs to her. Bold claim, the man who changes his position the moment she disagrees has already lost something he cannot get back. The psychology here is rooted in what social scientists call self-concept clarity, the degree to which a person has a stable, consistent sense of their own identity and beliefs. Research consistently shows that people with high self-concept clarity are rated as more attractive, more trustworthy, and more relationship-worthy than those whose self-concept shifts based on social pressure. When a man holds a perspective and a high-value woman pushes back, and he immediately caves, qualifies, or reverses, she doesn't feel heard. She feels the absence of someone substantial to actually connect with. Mini story. Nathan had been on 2 dates with a woman named Elise. On the 3rd date, he shared a genuine opinion about something they were discussing. Elise disagreed, clearly, directly. She was watching his face. Most men backpedal immediately. They sense the disagreement and treat it as a social emergency. Nathan said, "I hear you. I see it differently, and here's why." Calmly, without defensiveness, without the slightest need for her to agree, Elise told her friend later, "He actually has a point of view. He doesn't just agree with everything I say. It's kind of incredible how rare that is." what actually works. Hold your position with warmth and zero anxiety. Engage with her perspective genuinely. Update your view if she makes a point worth updating for. Never update it simply because she seems uncomfortable with the disagreement. Here's a boundary most men have never considered, and it costs them enormously. Bold claim. Allowing someone to consistently bring negative, disrespectful, or draining energy into your space without addressing it doesn't make you easygoing. It makes you a doormat. And high-value women don't build relationships with doormats. The psychology: high-value women are attracted to men who have genuine self-respect. Not arrogance, but the quiet, grounded sense that they deserve to be treated well and will calmly address it when they aren't. When she's having a bad day and takes it out on you with sharpness or dismissiveness, the boundaryless man absorbs it silently, hoping it passes. The high-value man addresses it gently but directly. Hey, I notice something seems off tonight. I'm here if you want to talk about it, but I'm not going to be on the receiving end of that tone. What's actually going on? That response does two things simultaneously. It offers genuine care, and it holds a genuine standard. That combination, warmth plus self-respect, is one of the most attractive things available in human interaction. Bold claim: a man who abandons his purpose to pursue a woman always loses both the woman and the purpose. And a man who holds his purpose almost always ends up with both. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive boundary on this list, and the one most consistently validated by attraction psychology. High-value women are not attracted to men who make them the center of their universe. They are attracted to men who have something at the center of their universe that is larger than any single relationship, and who invite her to be part of that rather than replacing it with her. Mini story. Kevin had been building a business for 2 years when he met a woman named Diana. She was remarkable, genuinely the most interesting person he'd encountered in years, and she was demanding of his time in ways that began to conflict with his work. Most men restructure their entire lives. They think devotion looks like sacrifice of purpose. Kevin had a direct conversation. I'm genuinely interested in you. I want to spend real time together. I also have something I'm building that I'm not willing to compromise. I'm looking for someone who finds that attractive, not someone who needs me to choose. Diana called her friend that evening. He said no to me, and somehow that's the most attractive thing he's done. What actually works? Be clear about your priorities. Invite her into your world. Never abandon the thing that makes you someone worth being with. Bold claim: how a man responds to being disrespected in front of others tells a high-value woman everything she needs to know about whether he can protect the relationship long-term. The psychology draws from research on social dominance and partner evaluation. High-value women unconsciously evaluate potential partners for their capacity to maintain dignity under social pressure, not aggression, dignity. When someone speaks to him dismissively in a social setting, whether it's her, a mutual friend, or a stranger, and he laughs it off with visible discomfort, she logs that data, not consciously, but it accumulates. The man who calmly, warmly, but unmistakably addresses disrespect in the moment, without drama, without aggression, with the quiet confidence of someone who simply doesn't accept that treatment, creates a specific felt safety in her. She thinks, if someone disrespects me when we're together, he will handle it. He doesn't crumble under social pressure. That thought, whether conscious or not, is deeply, fundamentally attractive. This is the truth reveal, the deepest boundary, the one that makes all the others possible. Bold claim: the most powerful boundary you can hold is the one between who you genuinely are and the performance of who you think she wants you to be. And dropping that performance completely, permanently, is the single most attractive thing available to a man. Here's the psychology that most people never consider. Every boundary we've discussed, time, opinion, energy, purpose, social dignity, requires one foundational thing to function: a stable, honest, clear sense of who you actually are. Without that foundation, boundaries are just rules you follow awkwardly. With it, they become the natural expression of a man who has made peace with himself. High-value women have encountered dozens of men performing versions of themselves. The version that seems more confident, more successful, more whatever they calculated she wants. She can feel the performance. Even when she can't name it, something in her nervous system detects the gap between the presentation and the reality. And here is the truth reveal. The man who shows up as himself, genuinely, completely, without apology, creates an experience she almost never has. The experience of being with someone real, someone whose behavior doesn't shift based on her responses, someone who is the same person on date 1 and date 10 and date 100. That consistency, that realness, that complete absence of performance. It is the rarest thing available in modern dating. And high-value women who have been through enough to know the difference respond to it with the kind of genuine, lasting attraction that no technique could ever manufacture. You don't have to be perfect. You have to be actual. That is the boundary that changes everything. Here's the question I want to leave you sitting with. Of these 6 boundaries, time, opinion, energy, purpose, social dignity, and the boundary with yourself, which one are you most consistently failing to hold? Not the one that sounds most interesting. The one that, if you're genuinely honest, needs the most work right now. Drop it in the comments. Seriously, I read every single one. And so do the other men in this community who are working through exactly the same things. If today shifted something real for you, subscribe. Every week we go exactly this deep into attraction, psychology, and what it actually means to become a man that high-value women genuinely choose. See you in the next one.